check. So the other change that's significant for this program too is the grant component is currently written would go from 10% to 15%. So this program right now, 1.5 million, 1.7 million. If the opt-out goes through, if that 10 to 15%, this could be close to a $5 million program, perhaps by the end of the year. So something that we're paying attention to within the department. Very similar slide, 25% match. Again, we do provide some flexibility in lieu of a 5-year rec plan, a capital improvement plan, which can be done at the local level pretty quickly. Also can create eligibility for this program. Mentioned before, our DNR director is the final sign-off for this, 2 years to complete. You can see it's only been around since 2011, but it's already $8 million that's gone out the door through this particular program. And there's, again, some of those comparison slides. So this one was relatively quiet early on, and we've seen a lot of competition more recently. And you can see, again, some of those success rates, but they're conservatively what we're believing we can put out this current year. And I think I'm going to pass the mic to my friend Paul. I'll be back towards the end.
Thanks, Dan. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for allowing us to come and talk to you about our different grant programs and the Waterways Grant Program. Along with me today is Vicki McGee. She's our Planning and Infrastructure Section Chief. So she may tag team with me when we talk about if there's any questions during question and answers. So what's our focus? So it's public recreational boating opportunities, boat access sites between our state-owned facilities and places that we've given grants. We call it grant need communities. We have over 1,300 boating access site facilities. So we also we help with improvements to harbor facilities along the Great Lakes. So there's 19 state-owned boating or harbor facilities, and then we have 63 grant and aid communities with harbor facilities. Who can apply? Local units of governments, cities, villages, townships, counties, and public universities. Projects that are eligible, so preliminary engineering, that includes anything from developing concepts to cost estimates to the permitting fees for like Eagle or Core permits and everything that would go into that, surveys. And then also we grant for the actual construction, infrastructure improvement, and that includes like final design. Our grants are typically 50-50. If a community wishes to contribute a higher amount, and once again, we're a reimbursement, just like Dan mentioned with their grants. If they wish to contribute a higher amount, they score higher in the evaluation. We do have a policy, if you will, if a community wishes to have the state fund more, but it's based on a 3-year average of the Michigan Department of Treasury certified audits going into the total cost of the project. Our applications are due April 1st. Well, I'm going to back up. Harbor applications, not boating access site applications, but for any assistance for harbors, do require a 5-year recreation plan, and that's through grants management section, but there's certain components within that that we ask to be addressed specifically for harbors. So they're a little bit of a requirement in that regard, different than an application for boating access sites. So our applications are due April 1st by 5 o'clock. So that sets us in motion to looking at the projects, starting to evaluate the applications based on how much funding we have available. And then we take that, our list, what we recommend to the Michigan State Waterways Commission for their review and input. And then generally that meeting is the end of April, and by the 1st of May, we can come back and we know what projects we can fund, and we start to work on our grant agreements and start to assist communities. And from the date of execution on the agreements, a community has 3 years to complete their project. Now, if there's some wrinkles along the way, if there's something with permitting or such, but there's an honest attempt to keep moving, that we can work to extend that. This year, we had 3.2 million worth of applications, 19 applications. Unfortunately, we were only able to fund 17 of them, 2.7 million. We had some heavy hitters that we weren't able to fund. So 89% success rate. Last year, a little bit better. We had 92%. And the year before that, we were like at 100%. I think we had 13 applications and we were able to fund all of them. But the big thing here, this is what we're really concerned about, the high water and potential requests for emergency repairs. We've, both on the state-owned facilities and with our grant and aid communities, we've put out emails to those asking for letting us know any anticipated situations, and we're starting to hear about it. So that, and unfortunately, since we don't have a huge pot of money, that probably would impact what we have available for typical projects. So another grant program that I work with, where the DNR is the applicant, it's through the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. It's the Boating Infrastructure Grant Program. The acronym for it is Big P. The Tier 2 is a nationally competitive program. So it really focuses on transient facilities and non-trailerable boats 26 feet or greater. So same folks can apply, local units of government, but also allowing privately owned facilities. Now this is for public transient recreational boating facilities, but we do allow, or I should say the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, this is a pass-through to the federal funding. So folks that apply are actually going through the DNR. They are the applicant, or they are the sub-applicant, we're the applicant. So as I mentioned, the projects that are eligible, primarily anything related to building transient facilities, and that can include navigational aids, breakwaters, restroom buildings. And that grant can fund as much as 75%. The maximum would be 1.5 million per applicant. There's multiple steps for this. On April 1st, the applications are really an application to us, just so we can see if it meets the criteria of the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, so with the Big P program and meeting it as far as transient facilities and non-commercial and that type of thing. If we felt it met the criteria and we decide to allow them to proceed with it, what they're doing is applying, they're actually completing a proposal to the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. That's generally, this year it was about mid-September, but I always, in my mind, I think around Labor Day. So, and then the teams get together, we're in Region 3 with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, and they have a big gathering of their directors or their coordinators, and then they decide on which projects would be funded. We usually find out about March or April, so it takes a little while, and then we find out if it's approved. If it is approved, that's just kind of that's the first step. Then it goes on to a full submission package to the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. So that's like doing a lot of it over again plus more. So yeah, fun stuff. So this year we had one application that we allowed to move on. It's kind of a niche. It's strictly, it's really just for transient facilities. So we won't find out until spring. This is just a few of the items that, as far as requirements that are common to both the Waterways Program grants and the Big P grants. So they're open to the public in equal and reasonable terms, maintained for the life of the facilities, defined as a minimum of 20 years. Commercial use of any kind must be approved by the grantee, and then the DNR. So that's like charter fishing and maybe nonprofit lighthouse tours, launching and retrieving services, that type of thing. Any sale or use of property or operations of the facility must be approved by the DNR. And then there's other components too, but this is between the two programs, a few of the items that are requirements. So back to you, buddy.
All right, a couple more slides. Part of the nice, Paul. Part of the request today was to try to paint the picture for where some of these encumbrances or investments have been made from these programs, specifically along the south shoreline. So I've known everybody's seen a lot of maps today. I've got this one propped up in the back too if people want to take a closer look. After the meeting, I'm going to do my best to kind of walk through the legend because there's a lot going on here. I think big picture, 28 grants ranging from 1958 to 2017, totaling a little under $6 million across a mix of programs. So you can see all of our code words up here. TF is the trust fund.